Hello and welcome back to episode 20 of our Pathfinder Ultimate Guide series. Last time we left out, we defeated the Morwick here and claimed another nice set of rewards. And now we're going back to the cave with the 5th standing stone. The 5th stone is here. I'll put an X in editing, and it's inside this cave, of course. On the map it is right here, and there's also another standing stone right here. So you have a standing stone here, around here, up over here somewhere, where these babaus are, one in the cave here, and one in the middle. I will showcase the last two, defeat the specters, and complete the rest of Wintersun in this episode. Also some other minor locations. Again, we will wait on looting this, as the specters will spawn in locations around the map, including places where there's currently monsters, and to make our life easier, we will defeat those monsters before we interact with that, so the specters are isolated. Continuing to the left or the right hand side of the map here, if you're an Asata, you can reinvigorate the land here. Alright, here we are. There's a morbid Gibrilith and also another standing stone in this vicinity. On the map, that'll be just over here-ish. This will also be a location for a future spectre, of which there are also 7 of them, before we get the reward of 10,000 experience. We've already fought these guys before, but in case you've missed or have forgotten, these are their stats. They can be phantasmal killed, as you can see here. They have low attack rates. That's not the important part though. The important parts are all of these diseases, so you might want to look at bringing some cure disease and some restorations here. They also have the fart cloud or the stinking cloud, and they annoyingly have waves of fatigue, which is a cone that can make us fatigued. So overall they are rather annoying, but they are kinda squishy with only 200 HP. That is on hard, of course. With them defeated, and this is the 6th standing stone, located right here. Also a spectre location, so if you came here after looting this, there would be those two, or there would be these two balls of death, and also a spectre here, which could be very tough to deal with. Thus why we want to wait. This stone is not one of these standing stones, even though you can interact with them. As you can see, it is unfortunately broken beyond repair, though it is located in this little crevice here on the map. Clicking the second option, "Why are you talking to me like that?" will net you a start of a quest, the final sunset of Wintersun, or something like that. Yep, the final sunset of winter is the quest's name. After gaining access to the village, we can take our time and loot the area for food and other small things. Bits and bobs. You might want to scan the outer areas, as there are some hidden perception checks here and there that you definitely don't want to miss out on. At some point there will be a little cutscene here with a few demons. Do take your time to read it, as mentioned in the last episode. It is quite an interesting little first time read. You might also want to keep in mind that you can talk to some of these peasants, and some of them might have some dialogue in the future. As you can see, you say you were guarding Dresden when demons came, and it is indeed a demon. What's going on here? Moving up, we can talk to Gespaha here. Let's say we are a guest of the Lady of the Sun. If you ask or tell them that help, or ask for help to get to the bottom of the situation, there's a diplomacy check, and another 120 experience can be gained. Finally, it also continues the quest. Now we need to explore the village and examine the runestones. Here's one runestone, and this is the last standing stone right here. So once we return to this little area here with the heart of stone, we should now be able to get the relic and stuff from here. If you have Arushale, the runestone shows no sign of detection towards her, even though she's a demon, and she comments on it herself. How strange, this stone is supposed to detect demons nearby, but I'm right here and it's silent. So something's definitely afoot in this town.
There more?
This chest here is a hidden perception check, but it only has a few potions in it. This runestone is a fake, it has no power to detect demons. I forgot there's actually 8 standing stones, but with this we should have gotten them all. Before we go to the clan hall, let's go over here to the right. This runestone was smashed and the pieces carefully hidden. Someone smashed the runestone and hid the fragments in the village. Also up here you will find a nice rapier for someone like Camellia, the Reeking Heart of Arcane. Whenever it is affected by a magical effect, such as magical weapon or divine favor or anything else, it gives it an enhancement bonus, and this bonus is increased by +1. So in truth, it becomes a +4 rapier, basically. Let's go back to Gesmaha with all the information we've learned. The rune stones were broken and replaced, and after clicking through the other dialogue, you examine or complete the quest and gain a decent chunk of experience. Before we do go up to the Great Hall, let's finally go back to the Heart of Stone with the final standing stone complete. It was right here in the corner, and there's 2 in the village, 1 here and the 5 outside. And once you have interacted with all of the standing stones, you can interact with the Heart of Stone, and inside you will not only find the relic piece that is needed for one of the best boots in the game, you will also find a ricocheting heavy crossbow, a +3 keen cruel crossbow, and also a back rank assistance amulet, which, if the wearer is wielding a ranged weapon or whenever an ally is in a 30-foot radius lands an attack of opportunity, the wearer makes a free ranged attack against that same target. This effect can only occur once per target. So with that in mind, let's put the back rank assistance on Arushale instead, and let's put the other one, the half of the pair, back on someone like Social. Instead, we can use these amulets of natural armor on someone else, including our pets. It really depends if you want him to be a AC stick, or if you want them to use damage from here, like so. It is up to you though. Remember to momentarily take some looks into your inventory to see if you can make some small upgrades here and there. You might want to buff up either out here or inside before moving forwards, as a rather potentially tough combat encounter awaits you in there. There will be plenty of demons, a dragon, a smaller one though, not as big as Devora, which we fought in a previous episode, and also the main guy himself. So again, if you've entered here, this will be your last opportunity to buff. As you can see, there's a dragon, and 2 of these demons, and this guy himself. There will even be more as well. If you were of the demon mythic path, you could choose this option here, and here you can decide Gesmaha's fate, but if you keep her alive, you will function as a little merchant as well. To do so, either of these top options will perform that exact task. The 6th one might do it as well, I can't remember though. We will just say stop, don't harm that woman. And here we have them then. This Beverak dude is a dragon with 50 AC on hard, low touch. He's not immune to a good old phantasmal killer, though he has decently high will saves, and also high attack rolls, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 a turn. He has a breath weapon which deals cold, so a cold resistance protection from energy cold is mandatory here if you don't want to take damage from that. And there's a vulnerability to fire, so you might want to keep that in mind if you have Ember or Hellfire Ray, which you should have gotten on Social or Nenio or even Ember by now. Or you shouldn't have Hellfire Ray on Ember, but you will have them on these 2 here at minimum, if you are level 11 at least. For the main dude himself, he's worth quite a decent chunk of experience. Low thingies. He's not immune to Phantasmal Killer. He has low will saves, so he can be destroyed with it, but he does do a lot of cold damage, so again, cold resistance is mandatory here. He's under haste because there's these 2 Calabakus who give them haste every round, or here and there, And otherwise he's basically your bog standard barbarian with 8 attacks per turn. And then there's these two Kalavakus, which we've already undergone. They're basically haste demons, and that's about it. Otherwise they're pretty weak. Then there's these mobs of just random rangers, and that's pretty much it. But again, cold resistance and then buff maybe normal should be doable for this fight here. After you have dealt with this fight here, feel free to loot the bodies of the folk. In his little bedroom here, there is a special little braces of dominance. When you make a crit hit with a two-hander, which funnily enough, the Foshards and the Gravesinger are, they have to pass a will saving throw with a DC of 24 or become unable to attack for a round. Rather decent. You might want to keep these engraved lucky braces in mind as they are rather important. But not yet though. You can take them off and put this on here. And there's a secret passageway behind this painting here, this mural. And you can see Mahavok and two little axes here, and there's a little decision we have to make. We get a bone key and a demon of some kind appears. If you're an Aeon Mythic Path, you can choose this object here, and we can decide what to do with him. We can agree and let this place be at peace, even if its peace is a beautiful lie. You might want to keep this name in mind, Jirabeth, here. Basically, what decision we make here will impact her attitude in a later quest. I will agree and let this place be at peace, even if its price of peace is a beautiful lie. And here we can either choose to take or have Jirabeth take Mahavok to her little castle, or we can kill Mahavok, which will severely piss her off and ruin the attitude with her later. Ultimately, you can decide to kill them now or later. Though you cannot kill Jirabeth right now, it'll only make your life rather and slightly more annoying in the coming or in the last stages of this act. So I can say take him if you want, to make our lives a little bit easier. 240 experience, and the quest Know Thy Enemy updates. We also need to tell Erebeth what happened here, and they of course left behind these two little axes, of which they are rather good if you're using throwing axes with Windwalk for an example, as this one is keen, and all further attacks deal 1 force damage, which stacks to 10, and this is basically a little ice or cold axe that can paralyze on hit for 2 rounds. Once we return to the clan hall, we can now find Gesmaher on the throne, and she has become a merchant. And we can take a look at her wares. This Fatal Beacon Greatsword is quite good for you Greatsword users, as it is holy, and therefore the holy bypasses basically all damage reduction, so this extra 2d6 will do a lot of damage. It is also an inlaid +3. This is also a decent piece of armor for armored casters, as it boosts damage on any of these following spells: fire, electricity, cold, or acid, by 1 per dice rolled, and for the higher dice or spells that roll a lot of dice, it can easily add up. Otherwise, there's not really much noteworthy stuff. There's a little boot pair here. It's not really that good. And you could consider these two, but they're way too expensive for their benefits. Overall, it's nice just to have her, as she functions as a merchant, of which we can dump all of our garbage. And while selling our garbage, we can make a decent penny. Let's go ghost busting then, shall we? We have a few specters we need to take care of. So, down here by this loot, where the skeleton is, and if you decided to spare the village, there's an incubus here as well, which is also a merchant. He sells a Burning Torment, an Earthbreaker, the Mother's Call Scythe, which is unholy, and the Precious Treat, which is an insight bonus to attack and damage. However, it suffers -3 to hit. But it is quite costly, so we will keep that in mind, but we will definitely come back here when money is no longer an issue to buy it. There's also your first scroll of legendary proportions, at level 13, we will want to keep this spell in mind for Ninio, as we can bypass the cost of using dinosaur bones to cast this. More about that when we reach level 13. Otherwise, there's some few interesting weapons down here, and a scroll of blasphemy, and basically high level scrolls, and a few interesting weapons. That's it. Now that we're here, let's go ghost busting. In here you find the Brazen Whip, which is an extra attack per round. However, the wearer is under the slow effect, and it's only for creatures that are summoned. And oh, a spectre appears. Following the steps, up here is the first of many specters we want to take care of. Death Ward is highly recommended here, otherwise you will suffer negative levels. And if you do happen to suffer negative levels, using Restoration or Restoration Greater, depends on when you come here, will remove them. Restoration will remove the lesser ones anyway. These specters here basically all have 400 HP. Don't worry about this, we will only get this experience when we've defeated all of them. And their stats are majorly the same. They cannot be phantasmal killed, and they hit with a minus or plus 34 to touch, which is rather annoying because we don't really have a good answer for that. So again, Death Ward is pretty much mandatory, otherwise you will suffer negative levels, which we do not like. They also have Firestorm and Creeping Doom, but they will start off using these Fingers of Death before just attacking wildly. So that is one spectre down. Up here by this little thingy, right here, there should be another one. Here on the map, right here, there's another one. So one up here, one here. I know for a fact that there's one down here by these two thingies. That's number 3 down. One down there, one over here, one here. By these blighted tree ants, there's also a couple, or another one rather. If I recall correctly, there's also one down here. Don't worry, I will showcase the full map of where they are. Indeed, there he is. There should also be one up by this big tree ant we fought up here. And indeed, there they are. And the last one, if I remember correctly, is somewhere up in this vicinity. There he is, right where we reinvigorated the land. Once they defeated them all, you will know because they beckon you to go to the burial site again, and you get the quest, the Buried Druid. And if you talk to the Spectre right here, you overpowered me 7 times, you're worthy of carrying my whip, I will not trouble you again. He disappears, you gain 20,000 experience, so definitely do it. If you feel like you don't have the power, feel free to come back and do this then, just interact with it and then go around. I will point out now where they are on the map. One can be found up here by this loot bag-ish. One can be found here. As mentioned, one can be found just beyond this burial site. Another can be found just nearby this little standing stone, but down here, so right around here. Another just over here by the edge of the map. One by this little outcrop here. And one up here. With that, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I will put up a little X while I'm doing this, and once you have done that, return to the druid thingy, get your experience, and you're free to hold the whip and exit the location. Don't worry, we will come back to this location. We still have that insane half-elf, and she will become relevant rather soon, I'm sure. But that 20,000 did indeed push up quite a far bit of our experience meter. With all of that, let's collect our loots and head out. We could now continue down to Terendilif's lair and the Heart of Mystery. The Heart of Mystery is a part of Ninio's quest, and the Terendilif's lair is more about the Silver Dragon of Terendilif, where we will also find some very nice loot. So let's do that. I think we have time for that in this episode. we meet someone on the road. I cannot remember what this encounter is, but I'm sure I'll find out soon. Righty-ho, this is related to Woljif's quest. Actually, no, it's to the Master Bladesmith. Also a very important figure that we want to keep in mind. Indeed, Finian has some remembrance about the Bladesmith, and we will simply say I'm not giving Finian to you. These guys aren't much of a threat, even if you are lower leveled, as they're just cultists basically. There is 2 spellcasters and these archers over here, but that's about it. We gain the quest to talk to Finian, and you might wonder how do we achieve that. You go into your inventory, have Finian down here, and then start dialogue. Let's say that we got ambushed by cultists who spoke of some bladesmith. We gain 210 experience, and we will wait for the opportune moment. Again, from now on you will gain a lot of scrolls and masterwork weapons and even +1 stuff, but nothing super interesting. While you're in the vicinity, you might as well connect these 2 up. That means our armies can now go back and forth from here. With a quick rest out the way, let's deal with some of our crusade business. Having defeated the Morwick guy, we can gain the Swords of Gorum here, which is a +2 bonus to attack, +10 bonus to damage, and a -2 penalty to AC and initiative. Overall decent, but not high value as of right now. Let's continue to the Terendiliv's lair and the Heart of Mystery, after we've done a little excursion with our armies. With all of that boring stuff out of the way, let's head to the Terendiliv's lair now. We also somehow spot the burned down shack, which is just a regent location. Always make sure to hover over what you discover, as some of them is rather important for various reasons. This ravaged longhouse being one of them, as this is another place where we can get puzzle pieces for one of the puzzle locations. Here we are then at Terendiliv's lair. Your decisions in this area will slightly implement what your future paths is, including a future mythic path. But other than that, there's not much to do here except loot and dealing with this cleric here. I highly recommend you paying attention to this dialogue, as your decisions here implement whether you unlock a mythic path or not. After you defeat the initial cultist, someone named Hal asks you to stop, and to get the mythic path you basically want to be good by sparing them of some kind of way. Feel free to ask them what these questions, or feel free to ask them the questions, but ultimately sparing them is the good choice here. And he bloody turns to a dragon, eh? His name also changes to Halasiliax, and Ivu has a little special dialogue. Once he flies off, we can gain 800 experience, 2000 gold, and a shirt of Ardent War Priests for your War Priest endeavors. You gain +3 additional uses. Back here there should be a perception check, maybe I'm misremembering, but that is pretty much it. That little dialogue segment and what to do with the cultists. If you didn't spare them, you will not be able to go down the Gold Dragon Mythic path. Alright, that was a quick one. Let's go to the Heart of Mystery. Though I seem to have forgotten that it's actually behind this. With that knowledge, let's go to the Ravaged Longhouse instead. Again, this is a puzzle piece location and there'll be plenty of fighting ahead. To get the puzzle pieces quickly, you can descend into this well. And there are also a few athletics checks you can farm for experience. 1200 gold can be acquired from this chest or box.
No, backwards. Backwards!
And other than searching around for a little bit more loot, including this stuff here, inside this house there's also a way down to the basement. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter if you go down to the basement or the well route, but I'm gonna go to the well because that's an athletics check. Here we are then, and these are the puzzle pieces we want. These ones are blue. If you remember, the other ones we found were green. And down here you will find plenty of undead folk of various different monikers like Sneaky and so on. So Death Ward, to avoid the nasty things they have, is pretty much mandatory, since they have some nasty things they can put on you. Note that the mind affecting and things like that we can bypass with dragons since we are a dirge bard, but otherwise you just need to kill them normally, as they have some mediocre stats and not really anything special about them. The reason why you want Death Ward is because they have a gaze that'll decrease your levels if you do not have it on.
Trail me.
Kinda similar to Nabasus. Over in this little corner you will find a cold iron and some stuff.
What's in wait for me there?
And here's the basement entry. Before we go in there, or back there's also a way over here to the left and right. And the leftmost part had a little thing with some gold and other things. Let's go to the basement part where there are more of these zombies that can have death gazes on them, which reduce the levels. So again, Death Ward is necessary. In here there's quite a lot of them, but ultimately they crumble to dust when you meet with full force of our guys. And Death Ward, of course. Back here there's 700 gold, a shirt on the brink of death. Whenever the wearer's health is below 50, each attack against the wearer has a chance to reflect dealt damage. The enemy must pass a reflex saving throw or suffer the attack. Quite a decent shirt. With all of that covered, we are free to leave both the basement and this location. With Setsuna, I will now defeat these two armies here to unlock this for future teleportation purposes, and also to gain access into the northern parts. For this fight, this guy can cast Scorching Ray as we can, so use Cure Wounds intermittently when your archers get low, otherwise you should be fine as long as this bar is not filled out or any of your units dies. While this bar is filled out anyway, that means they won't return. We slowly want to make our way down to this thing right here with the Stone of the Ghostly Pathways, as this is another relic we have our eyes on. On the account of me failing to realize that this was the Heart of Mystery was behind this demon fort, I will teleport back to Dresden and probably work towards completing Ulbrich's quest before that, and that should buy us enough time for Setsuna to return from the northwest-ish direction and down here so we can go down there again. Alternatively, we could also work towards this upper part of this area on the Grey Road, but I will think a bit more on that. For now though, let's return to Dresden. We might as well do our chores by talking to the peoples and also going to the Citadel and dealing with any events that might pop. Let's give Irabeth news on the demon or the missing patrol. 800 experience, and that's it. Let's go down and inform Sia of his apprentice's unfortunate demise. 700 experience, and here you can be rather mean. You can bluff and say you don't have his sword even though you picked it up, or you can give it to him. So if you want to keep the Fang of Malice, feel free to do so by bluffing your way out of it, or simply hand it over to him. I think I will hand it over to him because I don't really have a need for the great sword, and allow Sia to destroy it, ultimately quote-unquote befriending him, or at least raising the attitude of him. If you were to say that you don't have the sword, he will see right through you, but ultimately won't judge you too hard. And as he says, he'll talk later, and he'll need to mourn Morwick. If you have the extra funds of various kinds like I do, make sure you build the main stables, like so, as that is a part of the quest for the crusade part of this game anyway, and getting that online as soon as possible will net you some decent results in the long run. I don't really have much else planned for this episode, even though I've only been recording for 30 minutes. I could take a look at Ulbrich's quest, and I could also just wait for a bit until the mythic quest pops, while I wait for Setsuna to go down here. Once this turns to midnight, he will defeat this army and then return the other way. After thinking on it a bit more, let's complete Ulbrich's quest. To that effect, let's say goodbye to Nenio and bringing him instead. For Ulbrich's level 10, or 12 rather, excuse me, It's quite straightforward. You can just improve strength and do his skills like so. And that is basically it. Let's go back to Coranklin. For this fight, it's important you take care of the big spider first before the small fry. Also, make sure to reduce the cultist numbers as much as you can before they reach your line. And if it's only the spider, feel free to leave it alone, as it will probably not do enough damage before it is dead. And indeed that is the case. With that, Setanashai also levels up to level 9, and we gain the Stone of the Ghostly Pathways. Here we have some very good options. Master of Maneuver 3, so to get another unit in here. Experienced Travel, which will net us some more movement on the world map. Salvage, which is 1000 finance points upon defeating an army. Or even Outflank. The options between Experienced Traveler and Master of Maneuver is definitely what I would consider. Having a 6th unit in this army would boost its power significantly, but also the Experienced Traveler would be quite good because it increases the movement points I can make each day. And I will go Master of Maneuver. Now this is the important part of the Unholy Symbol of Rovagog. We are now ready to augment it. To do so, it is very important you select Temper and Mountain Winds, as this will give you a larger crit range of except other than 18 to 20, but it also allows you to remove paralyzed, staggered, stunned, petrified or entangled once a day, or once per encounter rather. We suffer the damage, that's fine, since it only suffers the damage if one of these things are applied to us. Paralyzed, staggered, stunned, and entangled are all effects that can be made redundant by simply buffing with freedom of movement or other spells that we will go over soon. So let's temper it in the Mountain Winds. We should now look towards expanding one of our places. After the Studying the Valor is done, we can also do 1 day of leadership to get the event for that. And considering that I want the Ring of Bane of Spirit and the Fate of the Attractive Impulse, I'm just contemplating which one I want first. And I think the answer to that question will be the Ring of Bane of Spirit first, so I'm gonna go for this. In 7 days we will want to increase one of our outposts to a bastion so we can get more teleportation circles online. So that'll be the 14th of Lamashan in my case. In my case, before I actually interact with this area here, the stone, I'll briefly go down to what I missed last time because I didn't bring a trickery person, which was kinda silly. And that is indeed these people over here. Now this is the new part of the quest. The other part, or the thing I missed, was this trap and stuff. Let's go up and fix that, shall we? Feel free to kill these 2 lizards for around 50 experience. If we go inside the cave once more, you will find a few treasure hunters around the altar. We can either say we don't want anything from them and get more experience, or get their loot. From what I can remember, they don't really have anything interesting on them, but either these options work just fine. But in here anyway, there are lots of different traps.
I'm glad I was useful to you.
Disarm them with whoever you have. Feel free to loot up as well. It's really up to you. It's also a little hidden perception check with some Death Ward scrolls. But other than that, there's really nothing here. Let's go back and touch the stone and see what happens. After a bit of hunting, as you can see, I will touch the stone, and la-di-da, we have a little portal. On the other side then, we have a new region, Gundren. This map is huge and there are branching quests and so on, so I might want to leave it for the next episode. It seems that the 2 weeks has also passed, so we'll probably return and do that instead. Again, as you can see, it is not needed to do this yet, so feel free to leave this place. I'll just leave off the episode here, do the quests in the next one, and then go talk to the mythic area. Thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.